Hello everyone, this is Steve from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. I am the young adult librarian there. And today the craft project I'm going to be showing you is block printing. Now traditionally, block printing takes, a piece of block like this. This is like a rubber material that you can use. You put your design on here, and then you take one of these cutters and you scoop out the parts you don't want the ink to stick to. So it's like a relief printing type technique. And there's a lot of people use linoleum blocks as well, but this stuff takes specialized equipment. And I'm going to show you a way we can do something similar with styrofoam. So to make an effect like what I have here. So you'll need a couple of items. You'll need paper, both for your design and to print on. And I just use regular copier paper. You will need a sponge. The sponge needs to be damp. You don't want it sopping wet. You don't want it dripping with water. So, I wet it, then I wring it out. And so you just need a damp sponge. You're going to need some washable markers. So don't use Sharpies. Don't use anything permanent. You want to use washable markers. You'll need those. You will need styrofoam. So, a lot of times you'll get food in containers like this. So if you set those aside, save them, or if you have old styrofoam plates that, you're not using, or that you can, what we call upcycle, where we do use them like this, have food in them, and then we clean them and we keep them out of, the trash by using them again. So I have a couple of these. I sort of save this stuff. I have some foam plates that I've saved that I use for different projects. So that's another great way to use those a second time. And so the process is you want to, and then finally you'll need a blunt object. So a lot of people use like a colored pencil that's very blunt. I use this, I have this like craft sort of toothpick type device, and I use this rounded end. And that's what I use to apply pressure to transfer my design to the styrofoam. So you'll need something like that. Again, you don't want something too sharp, because when we put our design on paper and we're tracing it onto our styrofoam, we want indentions for our design. We want it etched into the styrofoam, but we definitely don't want it to go all the way through. So, look around your house, see what you have. Like I said, blunt colored pencil. If you have something like this, it's perfect. So the next step is that we want to put our design on paper. So I put my design on here, and then I put the piece of styrofoam underneath, and then I laid this design on top, and then using my tool, I just followed the lines and applied pressure. And you can see that I applied pressure to the point where, my toothpick sort of went through. That's okay. What you're really shooting for when you're tracing the lines on your paper to the styrofoam is you want the styrofoam to have indentions for your lines and your different shapes. And then after that, I always go back through and I just, go over them a number of times. Again, you're putting pressure on the stuff, on the lines, but you're not going all the way through your styrofoam. So you can see I didn't go all the way through. I've just gone over a number of times where I have really defined, grooved, lines. And, this takes a couple times, so it takes a little bit of effort, time. Just take it slow and make your lines. After that, we want to color our design. And so you use your, washable markers. You just color over. This was the first one I made. And you'll see that it's going to be reverse printing. So, this side is what ends up over here when you lay it down. So you color it any way you want with your, washable markers. And then after you do that, you color. You want to take your sponge and you want to gently just, glide it over your paper. And again, you're trying to get the paper moist. You don't want it to be sopping wet. So I just do a couple times like this, couple times like this. I feel it to make sure it's damp. Because the ink is washable, when we put that down, put pressure on it, it's going to transfer our colors over to our paper. So that's sort of the whole process that we're trying to go for. So after you put some, make this damp. You put your design over. Now I have for regular block printing, this is called a brayer, and this is what you spread out your ink when you're doing block printing. So I have this brayer here that then I go over my Styrofoam like this, and you're applying pressure. Again, you want that transfer of the ink from your Styrofoam to your paper. So I'm putting pressure down. Now you really want to make sure this Styrofoam doesn't move, because if it does, it will smudge your print. So you want to keep it very steady. So a lot of times I'll hold it, go over part of it, move my hand, hold up here. You can also tape your Styrofoam down if you want. So you can do that as well. Now, a lot of people don't have a brayer, so what else could you use? I mean, if parent or guardian lets you use a rolling pen, you can use a rolling pen. If you have a heavy jar or a can, just be careful. So you're looking for something that you can roll that has some, something you can get good pressure on. So after you do that, then you lift up your design and you're going to have the transfer. And so this was the first one I did. And then after that, you can do different colors. You can do the same. So I did different colors, and this is what happened with my second one. You can see over here, I had my red, so I put like a gray over this, but you can still see some of the red that comes through. So you get some really cool, color bleeds, some different, speckling effects. So it's really neat, what you can do. And once you put the second layer down and the consecutive layers of marker after that, the color really comes out a lot better. It's almost like that first layer, gives you a nice base to build on. So yeah, then you just keep on putting your colors down. You can keep on transferring them. And I've done a couple other ones. This one up here. So I did this design here, transferred it over to the Styrofoam. And so I got that. And I thought, oh, you could do this for a card. So you can see I have my design there. So you can make like a little card that you could send to people. My son in 5th grade is doing haiku. And when, I was helping him with that, I was like, oh, we were just messing around, coming up with different haiku poems. We started coming up with stuff for food. So I designed a couple food-related designs. So I did the pizza, did this donut, and you can see all those right here. So that's my big piece of pizza, my little piece, my little donut, my bowl of noodles. So, and then, the plan is that you can put your poem, up there, up here in the white spaces. So we haven't gotten that far, but this is an example of where you can take this after that. And if you do zines, if you do journaling, this is a really cool printing effect that you can add to those things. My hope is that once you learn this, you will then maybe learn more about block printing. You'll advance and learn more. I mean, if you go to a lot of museums, you can see examples of historic block printing. So, yeah, it's block printing for you. I hope you'll give it a shot. I'd love to see what you come up with. Again, I hope to see you soon, and keep crafting.